First Amendment in general protects the right to freedom of speech, and also what's kind of tangentially related here, the freedom of association for these players to kind of do this in conjunction with each other. But it's mainly related to the freedom of speech, more broadly the freedom of expression. They're not directly speaking anything as a part of these protests, but by taking a knee during the national anthem, they're engaged in a form of political protest through their actions. And I mean, it's no surprise that every country has a national anthem. It's a way to foster nationalism, support for the country, and to kind of heighten emotion in a positive sense for the people who live in a country.
I mean, to me, it's very meaningful, but how individuals act during it just doesn't affect me. So like when his initial reasons, like, hey, there was something he wanted to bring awareness to, I thought it was peaceful and it was impactful and it was pretty smart.
There's some speculation, at least, and I think there's a case to be made that what got Kaepernick more interested in this type of protest and other athletes who have followed him was the death last year of Muhammad Ali. And some of these athletes now asking themselves, well, should I stand for a bigger social justice issue than simply playing the sport that I'm in right now? If you look at Muhammad Ali as an example, if you go back to the 1968 Olympic Games, there, of course, you had the famous podium stand with the athletes with the fist in the air. And so, I mean, you do have some examples of this historically.
Raising my fist is just to bring awareness, basically. It's to let our voices be heard. I mean, it's supposed to get people a little bit uncomfortable, just so they can actually want to hear what we have to say.
Gentleman that did it at the local football game, it's more for them. It's like they want to speak to this problem, so they do it. And I'm sure they understand it's not going to have the impact that on the national level where everybody's watching the game.
When they actually hear our voices after we tell them and explain to them, it's not anti any of that. It's just, about the inequalities in America.
An athletic team has certain standards of performance that have to be met, has certain academic standards that has to be met, and there may be some form of an honor code that is enforced as well. To what extent could athletes at public universities engage in political protests that their coaches don't like and still be able to do that and not face repercussions?
People have to think through, like, what's the next step? Are they going to have to always protest until certain conditions are achieved, and what are those conditions? I think once you brought awareness to it, and then the next step is to have some sort of action. So if you're a wealthy NFL football player, buying some body cameras for police, that might be something that's tangible that you can do.
I do serve in the Wisconsin National Guard, so I'm definitely not anti-military. I serve in the military. I'm in school right now to be a police officer, and I'm from Chicago, so I want to be a Chicago police officer. So by any means, am I anti-military, anti-police, disrespecting them or disrespecting the flag or the anthem? I feel like within the police departments, they can change the police academy a little bit, just try to give better teachings of like combatives. Like there's many situations where police officers are shooting civilians in the back when they can easily just be retained. I feel like the background checks should be more in depth. A police officer, you work with detectives and everything, so I feel like you should be able to get to know how a person really is before they actually get a job to protect somebody else, especially protecting somebody else that's not like them. Just trying to bring awareness and show you guys something that you may not have witnessed or been aware of before.